Please sit cross-legged comfortably. You can actually sit in any position that you like as long as it's comfortable for sitting for a long time. Imagine a pencil on the top of your head. And with this pencil, you do a small circle on a piece of paper above your head. With the head. The top of the head has a pencil. And you're drawing a circle with that pencil. The intention is to listen to this pencil, that it is right in the middle of your head. You draw with this point. Notice that it is exactly in the center, and make sure that it makes a circle, not an oval. Pay attention, the pencil is upright. You must make movement with all of your neck vertebrae, not in your atlas. The movement is around the big vertebra at the bottom of your neck, C7. Feel this pencil right on the top of the head. This pencil stands. It's an extension of your neck vertebrae, extending up above your head. You move that pencil so it can draw a circle on a piece of paper. Change the direction of movement. Opposite direction. You can do this exercise all day and incorrectly. And you can think that it is fine. Then your teacher comes and demonstrates that your movement is not okay. Or the student can, with their own awareness, paying attention, find out if you're doing what you think you're doing. I see a lot of you that do a movement that is definitely not what you think you're doing. The pencil is glued to your head if you want. It doesn't matter if it's a pencil, it can be a small nail that is glued to the top of the head. It is important to put a clear point on the top of your head so that you can draw the circle. Now change the cross of your legs. Instead of the pencil on your head, put your right index finger on the top of your head. Now you're going to take the head to the side, so your fingers is on the left side of your head. And now you're going to move your head so that it moves around your right index finger when the pencil was a moment ago. So you're keeping your right index finger stationary and you move the head. So you move the circumference of your head touches the index finger. Notice that your nose is always in the same direction. You do this movement so the right hand does not move, your head moves, so that it's the whole circumference touching the index finger. In the beginning, you will move the finger, but you must notice when you do that. Slowly you will keep the hand in one place and move the head around the hand. Don't move your head side to side. Don't tilt your head this time. Pay attention that there is contact. You can imagine something hanging from the ceiling so that the head moves around this object and the object touches all around the periphery of the head. In the beginning, you do it with a finger. Then you can do it with an object later. Do it until you feel clearly the movement of the head. Now the movement is with the atlas. The skull is sliding. Leave that. Lift your left hand, put it on the right side of your head. And now do the same thing in the opposite direction. Change the direction of the movement from the one you did when the other finger was stationary. If you do not hold the elbow stationary, you can do the movement until tomorrow, and you're not going to do anything for yourself except making facial expressions. You will just do what you habitually do. Hold your left elbow in the air and your left index finger on the same spot in the air and move your head. Lie on your back and rest. Now lift your head from the floor. Keep the legs long. Imagine a pencil standing on the top of your head like we did in the beginning. Turn your head as you did earlier while sitting so that you can draw with the top of your head. Use the clear point on the top of your head to draw a circle on something that touches your head, like a paper. Now the movement is done with the involvement of the neck vertebrae, not with the atlas. You're not turning your head, but you can side bend. You don't turn your head. Do the same movement in the opposite direction. Leave that and rest. Lie on your stomach, please, and place your right index finger on the left side of your head. Now do the movement like we did before. You have to put your right elbow in the air, of course, and you are turning your head around your finger. The whole circumference of the head will touch your finger. Now you can clearly see if your elbow moves or not. Your elbow should not be moving, and also your finger should not be moving. Your head should be doing the whole movement. There is a sliding movement of the skull around the atlas. The head is painting like a cylinder instead of a cone. The nose does not move to the side and also doesn't side bend. There's no side bending, there's no turning. Like that. Now change the direction of movement, keeping the same hand in place. Notice which parts are difficult. You kind of paint on your head a nice ribbon, like those Roman emperors with the laurel leaves crowns. It is a ribbon that touches your forehead and the sides and behind. Move all around the circumference. Don't move your hand. I say without any movement in the hand. I see many of you move the elbow. People do not feel that the elbow moves, more even than your head, until you start perceiving the difference between the movement that you did in the beginning and the movements you're doing now. This lesson is not going to do anything for you. Afterwards, you will feel general improvement in breathing, posture. If it succeeds, you will feel an improvement that is impossible to attain in any other way. And now do the same with the left hand, both directions. Be strict that your left elbow doesn't move, not right, not left. Also watch that your left index finger doesn't move up or down. Your head is moving. You notice, when do you move the finger instead of the head? By yourself. The finger touches the head all the way. Your face is not moving, not turning left or right. It is moving, but your face doesn't turn. And also it doesn't side bend. The head does not side bend. Rest a moment. If you didn't change direction now. Leave that and rest on your back. Notice what these movements have done for your back and chest. You can see you were making discrimination between your hand and head. This clear discrimination of the difference between the movements of your head done with the neck vertebrae. The head does not move on top of the atlas. The neck vertebra underneath move. The other pattern, there is the head moves on top of the atlas. It slides. Only the base of the head moves. The differentiation between these two movements are people not doing very well. These two movements are not really differentiated for most people. When people bend or turn their head, they do part of the movement one way, the rest the other way. Sometimes it's different in both directions. And they do different movements while they're turning their head. And then it becomes asymmetrical. And you get that going all over the body. You can work and exercise as much as you want, and you will always have one side that works better. One leg will work better. The chest will be asymmetrical. You breathe asymmetrically. Even the eyes are asymmetrical. But after this lesson, you will see that something becomes free in the face, head, chest, eyes. Now stay on your back, lean on your elbows and hands. Make movement with a pencil coming out of the top of the head. You will draw a circle on a piece of cardboard directly above your head. You will see that the movements are built so that the shoulders kind of freeze. Usually you will do the movement with the shoulders. Here you can slowly differentiate the movement of the spine from the movement of the shoulders. Some people have their spine completely blocked, especially in C7, where you have like kyphosis and fat around this point. There isn't any movement there. You can massage it until the cows come home, and it doesn't help. But with this exercise, you can differentiate and move C7. Rest a moment. Lean on your elbows again. Change the direction of your head. And now, think now about the finger around the temple, against the temple, or a pendulum that is hanging from the ceiling. So you move the circumference of your head so it will touch the object that is hanging down. So this is the second movement. At the same time you're shifting your head, listen to the movement of the object against the circumference of your head. You must touch this imaginary object at some point of your head while you do this movement. It's difficult. Now try to do it with your right hand. So put your index finger on the left temple. Notice with your eyes that the right elbow does not move. With your eyes. And do the movement of the head underneath, stationary index finger. Doesn't move. The elbow does not move. Your head is moving, especially with the movement forward and back. This movement forward and back is where most people tend to move their elbow. Your right index finger must touch the head all the time. Nobody can actually do it even all the way. The places where it's hard, these are the important ones. Work with those parts until they function like in the area in your forehead where most people it's easier to do. Leave that, lie on your back and rest. Put yourself in the same position. Now lift your left hand. Now you change your direction. Listen that your elbow does not move. Look at your left elbow and make sure that it does not move. Your fingers are not moving either. The whole exercise revolves around your finger, touching everywhere along your head circumference. Your nose is not turning right or left. That is what needs to be corrected. Your head movements should be either with your neck vertebra or with the basis of your head. 360 degrees without disruptions. Most of us, it is not working well since we were children. It's difficult to correct. If you're not listening or attending to what you're doing, it's not going to work. It's like you want to change your accent. You open your mind and listen with a very, very strong concentration. It has to be easy, but at the same time you have to be strict. At every mistake, stop. Attend to correct it very slowly. You can pay attention when you do it slowly. You have to do it slowly in order to understand. If you're doing it fast, you won't feel where you're holding. Everybody has a different part of their back that is not working, and therefore it will be difficult for them. That is where this usefulness of the lesson is. It's not about the movement. Rest. Sense what you feel in your head, mouth, eyes, your back, your breathing. Please sit again, cross-legged. Now you put your hands on your hips. Do the initial movement of the lesson. On the top of the head you have a pencil and you make a circle with the top of the head in one direction and then a few circles in the opposite direction. Notice if you can observe the pencil throughout the whole circle. Is it easier now? Now, you imagine an object that hangs from the ceiling, touches your forehead, and your head moves around and around, always touching the object without skipping any part. Do it in your thinking first. And then do it in real life, paying attention when you turn your face or nose unnecessarily. There are some people who turn their nose when they move to the right and they don't do it when they move to the left. Your head should not turn. The asymmetry of the movement shows that the person is doing the movement with different neck muscles at certain points. That will affect the movement of the neck, shoulders, chest, back, and eyes. This asymmetry will affect everything. Now change the direction of the circle. Still imagine making the circle around the circumference of your head while touching an imaginary pendulum that hangs from the ceiling. Now take your index finger to the periphery of your head again, to the left, your right index finger. Do 2 circles with your finger touching the circumference and 2 more circles when the touching is imaginary. So you can do it first with your finger and then leave your finger and imagine it. See how the contact shift when you work with your imagination. Notice what is the movement of the neck. Do the same with the opposite index finger. Rest. Now lie on your right side, lift your head a little from the floor, and do the first movement we did in this lesson. The one with a pencil coming out from the top of your head and drawing a circle on a piece of paper above your head. The first movement, it will be difficult. Now place your left index finger above your head and make the circle with the periphery of your head. The head moves, not the hand. Do 2 or 3 circles with your finger in an effective contact with your head and 2 or 3 movements with imaginary contact. Rest a moment, stay on your side. Lift your head and do the same thing in the opposite direction. Change the direction of the head. Make a few circles with actual contact of your finger and a few with imaginary contact. Leave that. Lie on your back and rest. Now turn and rest on your left side. Lift your head and make a few movements with the top of your head only. Now this movement will describe the shape of a cone. Now switch and begin moving with the right index finger in contact with the sides of your head. The head does all the movement, not the hand. Do 2 movements with real contact and 2 movements with the imaginary contact. And then change the direction of the movement. Two times real contact, 2 times imaginary contact. Please sit again. Now imagine the movement at the top of your head when you have the pencil. And then try to do the movement with the top of your head again. Now try making a movement that is a combination of the 2 movements. So listen to the top of your head and also to the object that goes around the circumference of the head. Discover which sections do you do one movement, which section do you do the other. You can see when someone does not realize that they're not making the circles. This is why it's important to touch your head to your head. That makes you feel like you know what you're doing. Change the direction of the circle and think of the circumference. Think only of the circumference and touch your index finger to the border of your head. Now you leave the head and think about the circumference of your head and also the top of your head. Notice what happens when you think just on the top of your head and when you think of the circumference. What do you feel differently when you think this way or that way? What do you do when you think only of the circumference? You can feel that there is a huge difference. These are two different movements. Leave it alone, lie on your back and feel how your back lies differently than usual. Which parts are clearer? Of course, you will feel a great difference while standing. Roll to your side, get up on your feet. And listen, where does it feel different?